Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Nicole Adius with Prospect to Win. Today I have with me Tammy Williams. If you haven't watched that segment with Tammy and I, you really should. It was a lot of fun. We got into sales and we're going to do that again right now. So Tammy, if you just want to take a moment and introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you so much. I enjoyed our conversation last time, and people reached out to me from watching it to say, oh my goodness, you two are a wealth of knowledge. So what I know is that people like what we shared. And it's really great, I have to tell you, to be around someone who understands the whole sales process and really sees the value in bringing this to the mainstream. So thank you so very much. Just a small thing about me, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all about working with individuals, helping them monetize on their websites. Of course, being in sales, it has lent itself very nicely to work with people who are just starting in business for the very first time and, not knowing how and where and when they should be reaching out to people and understand the sales process because they took a hobby, into something now they want to actually turn into a revenue generating income type of thing. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And you know what? I know you're really big in sales in different industry sectors. I know that. I know staffing is one of them. I know you work with entrepreneurs. And let's just have some fun for a second. I want to know, what are some, experiences you've seen out there that are just so obviously wrong? Like what are people doing that they shouldn't be doing when it comes to sales?
Well, first of all, I think being annoying. Because, there's a difference between being persistent and being annoying. And I found this out myself, and I had to learn this the hard way, is calling a company over and over again and leaving multiple messages today, tomorrow, next week, the week after. It's a little too much. And so what I realize is people are doing way too many of the one thing. I mean, we have a lot of ways to reach companies. So why are we just focusing on the phone call only? And I found that people are doing this little thing where they're just like, I got to talk to you. You need what I have. But it's not about that. You're supposed to be listening more, to find out, first of all, can you find an area that you could probably help them with? Like, let's just start there first.
Yeah, like maybe do a little bit of research, know why you're calling, who you're
Yeah.
calling. But
Yeah.
it's funny because a lot of what I do and a lot of what I teach is to be persistent and to follow up and to leave voicemails with dates and times and to be progressive. I believe in that. I do. So it's just kind of funny how you're saying stop doing that. Right?
Well,
But
I don't say stop doing it, but it becomes boring and annoying if you're
yes.
doing it every week.
Yes.
Because you could mix it up with an email. You can mix up with a hardcover mail, a piece of mail. Oh my goodness. There's a word that no one even knows anymore.
Snail
Writing a
mail.
card. How about
Snail
writing a
mail.
card?
Yeah.
Yeah, writing a card. And the other thing too is I think what people are missing is that let that person or that company know that you took some time to find out who they are. So how clever is it for you to realize that they were just honored in another space, or they have X amount of maybe subscribers, or
Right.
viewers, or they just hit a milestone in their business. And you see the clipping in the newspaper, online or in a piece of paper. Why not just send that to them?
I love
Hey,
it.
Nicole, it's Tammy. I seen you guys in print. Nice to see you. If you need me, I'm here. Something very, even that could be in a voicemail message. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, just not,
Yeah.
hi, you need me. Give me your money. I used to call it dialing for dollars.
Dialing for dollars. Yeah. No, but it's true what you're saying. It's true. It is very annoying. And, I've had decision makers flat out say over the phone, what do you know about us?
Right.
Right? Because they're trying to
Right.
like weed out the BS. And
Right.
it's like, okay, if this person keeps calling me and they finally, I finally get through, well, what is it that you know about us? And imagine being asked that question and going, I don't know. I don't know anything about you. All I know is I want to get in there. And that's scary, right?
Yes. Yeah,
So it will happen. People will
for
say
sure.
that.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
You know, I've had crazy examples of like where I'd make calls at the beginning, and one guy said to me over the phone, we'll call him person X. Person X says to me over the phone, "Do you know how many times you called here?" He actually said this, and I'm like, "Oh my God, is there a bag? I'm just gonna put a bag over my head and like go to the washroom and cry." You know, like I was just like mortified.
Oh,
So
yes.
people will test you and they know when you're like a newbie, right? They know when you've been new in anything that you're doing in any industry that you're calling upon. Like, they know, okay? They know and they intimidate you. They're tactics, right? They're just tactics. And if someone has a really big ego, hey, they don't care, right? So it's just amazing. And I'm just wondering, like, what else have you seen out there, you know, in your experience? I know like the whole calling over and over and over again, but what else do people do that just stands out and you're like going, oh my God, really? You're doing that?
Oh boy. This is a long one. It's,
Just pick
I'd like
one.
to, yeah, which one do I
Just
pick,
pick
right?
one.
You know, I'll tell you, I believe it's about them blurting out and speaking more and not giving the person a chance to speak. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you do the interviewing someone to hire, there's open-ended questions that you ask. So you're supposed to be trying to find out where they're at, and I find that sometimes, even right now, I have someone that's calling me all the time and they never ask me anything about what I'm doing. They never ask how they could be of service. They didn't even ask me what I have in place already. They just went through a whole menu of services that they offer on the phone. And you know why? Because I let them, because they didn't ask the question. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's a bad thing, just doing that. And the other thing too is in person. There's a lot more opening up now with people going outside in person to events, networking, and conventions. You know, Look, you don't go up to somebody and say, "Here's my card," and walk away. You
You've
know,
had that?
yeah, I've had people literally say, "Oh, let's just change cards." Well, first of all, speaking from a place of in a position to buy something, possibly from you and a few others here, um, why would I want to change cards with you? Because if you're here
Mm-hmm.
just to collect cards, it's almost like that mass email where it's not personalized enough, where I think I'm just a number.
And
They
that's
didn't
like building
ask.
walks. Same thing as like building walks, going up and
Yeah,
down office towers and collecting business cards, right? That was like the old traditional, real door to door cold calling, cold walking, I call it.
yes.
It's the same thing. And you're right, Tammy. You're right. And this actually still happens today.
It's still having saying. Now, I love the cold calling, going in person, but go with a goal, go with intention, you know. Maybe your goal is not to get a business card. Maybe your goal is to find out who the gatekeeper is. I used to do that a lot. Everyone else would come back and they'd say, they got all these cards. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. I spoke to 4 receptionists and 1 secretary. And guess what they told me? They told me the hours that the person is actually in the office. They even allowed me to leave a package with them, and they're going to give it to the person that I want to speak to. I've been trying to reach for like months, like, building a relationship with that gatekeeper. So now when I call them, oh, hey, Tammy. Oh, yeah, how are you? Because now they told me some things about themselves, and I remember that, and I actually make sure I share that with my conversation with them. I think people are doing the cold calling wrong, and that is a big deal. I know people are saying, oh, do people even do anymore? Yeah, they do. Is it
Mhm.
the only way? No, but if you have 5 ways to reach a prospect, why wouldn't you use all 5 of them?
Yep.
Just why wouldn't you? We used to drive around in the staffing, since we're talking about staffing, we have some similarities. We used to drive around different areas, industrial areas, and just take a look and see what businesses were in the area, and just go right there, no appointment or anything. Just going to say,
Yep.
hey, we're in the area. Just wanted to find out, how you guys do your staffing here, and just sometimes the gatekeeper was like, no, they don't want to tell you anything. But there was always someone that would open up, that warm and fuzzy feeling that you have and that energy, and they felt it and they wanted to talk to somebody who was going to bring some joy and some laugh. Man, I'm telling you, they became your best friends. And then the lady that would be in charge of all the staffing, she'd be calling and say, hey, you know, Susan, who actually is my secretary, gave me a package that you dropped off for her. I was trying to get something to her forever through the traditional mail route, you know, and she's seeing it and just tossing it. But because it came from Susan in the company, it had more weight.
Of course, it's powerful. And I
Yeah.
like that you're building relationships with the gatekeepers because it's tough, right? Like over the phone, they're instructed, we don't take, outside callers from such and such places. They're told to
Hmm.
like screen. So this is yet another way to get in and have warm, kind of like you said, cozy conversation. I love
Right.
that. And the fact that you're, taking a tour in a particular geographical area, it's really common in real estate to do that. It's really common in commercial, residential. This is the first I've heard for staffing, but it's great. I mean, I have a lot of background doing this stuff for staffing firms myself, and I've never heard it being said this way. So that's really, really great. That's great stuff. And
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? It's amazing too. Like leaving voicemails is not enough. Sending emails is not enough. Face to face is powerful. And what you also said is true. Like you just don't know. You're going to get one out of those five that are going to be really warm, receptive, and that are going to help you. So we can get frustrated. And I know I'm speaking from firsthand experience, making these calls every
Hmm.
day, having, I have a few people that assist with these calls as well. And we all feel the same frustration where we're told, oh, sorry, well, you can't meet with so and so, or we're not
Right.
taking these kinds of calls. Oh, we don't take calls from staffing agencies,
Hmm.
right? Or from wherever else, XYZ. And
Right.
it's frustrating, right? It's just like dealing with that frustration. And what do you do? What do you do with that? Like go to a park and start screaming your lungs out, and let it all out, and like come back and start fresh. But this is the cold calling world, and this is the sales world, and it's amazing, and it doesn't stop, right?
No, and everything comes down to sales, really. I mean, you think about, you going into just a grocery store, if you get the right person that, pays attention to you, they're selling you an experience, about
Yes.
being there in their store. Walmart, other places that that have greeters and things like that, customer service on the phone, everything is about sales, everything. Nothing actually happens in this world without sales. I mean,
Yep.
even thinking about a resume, how you actually selling yourself on paper. But going back to some other things that people are doing, I think that are wrong, face to face and also the Zoom. For some reason, people have gotten a little bit comfortable with being at home and they've taken business casual to a little bit more too casual. So, if you're representing a business, show up like you're in that business. That's one
Not in
thing.
your pajamas.
Yeah, and don't look like you just roll out of bed. And face to face, I had this thing with a few people in the past where um, they probably should change their shirt a few times when they're at the convention for the day because they have a little bit of a challenge in certain spots. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, going face to face, some people really just get overwhelmed, and it's really, really tough to be there, but sometimes it's a little bit too hot, you know what I mean? And you
Mm-hmm.
have on all these clothes and you're sweating and you're talking to the person. Have that ever happened to you where you
Yep.
see people at the conventions and they don't look, really that great, because they look wet.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
that handshake they want to give you. So that's
Oh,
another thing I think people are doing wrong is they're not realizing that their grooming has a big thing to do with the Zoom meetings as well as in person. And I used to, when we used to do staffing and also other things for job research and job search, we would tell people like, if you're wearing like nail polish, either have it all on or all off.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Not
no,
half
it's
one, not
awful. Look at that red color, like pitching,
no.
kind of like chipping off the,
Yeah, and
the fingers.
it's okay to wear it, but just make sure it's either all on because the person that you're meeting with, they're noticing all that. Even the
Mhm.
people who are wearing the clothes that are too big, or they're too small, like it's very noticeable, and you have to be comfortable with what you're wearing. I mean, I hate to say, it, but people do take a look at us and they decide most times without us saying a word whether they like us. And then they're going to decide if they're going to have a conversation with you in those face-to-face places or even if they're going to keep your card once you give it to them.
It's so true.
So
And it happens so fast, Tammy. It happens so fast to all of us. We
yeah,
do it too. Like we're
yes,
all of us are doing it all the time, and
we
it's
all are.
subconscious and it's quick, and it's sad because, you know, a person can have all the right background and skill sets, and for whatever reason they're just not showing up that day, right, for whatever reason, and then that one day they're viewed in such a way that, you know, it's not favorable, right?
Right,
So
right,
you're right that these are great points. It's all like presentation skills. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's
right.
scary, but yeah, it's true.
It is. And I think people have forgotten that it's not just entrepreneurs that have to have that 30-second or 1-minute elevator pitch. The salesperson as well needs to have that, because we meet people all the time. So how interesting is it for someone to ask you what you do, which most people don't ask that, but when someone does, you have your own pitch available and not a whole encyclopedia. There's a difference, you know.
Mhm.
I'm really a fan of less being more, and something that's impactful, right? So we actually work with people who are already like in the sales arena, so to speak, and now they have a pitch that they will use if they're asked, what do they do? Because they're meeting people. So they can't,
Yep.
you don't have time to, well, I help people and this is what, no, they don't want to know that. They want you to get right to it. And then if they have other questions, then you can go into the longer, little bit of a storytelling, type of thing. But
We think
that's a bad thing.
you and I think very similar on that. And I'll give you an example. You know, I attend a few networking groups, and I'm here to say, I say this all the time. They all know that I'm gonna like speak for 20 seconds, right? Like, what is it that you do? I help people with, you know, cold calling. I help people get in the door. I do corporate training. That's it. And they're like, you're done your 60-second time frame. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Why? Because people go to sleep. They don't want to hear a long thing. When, you know, I like to give information in chunks, bit by
Right,
bit by bit, right? So that people know a little bit more each week, each month, whatever. Okay. 6 months, it doesn't matter, or else you're going to lose them. I go to these networking groups listening to what these people have to say, and then seeing if there's some kind of a match where we can assist each other.
right.
That's how I go into it. But many entrepreneurs, they're not doing that. They're just going
No,
on and on and on. And it's like, you know what? I'm not interested. You lost me. You
yeah,
lost me. And I have to
yeah.
sit through 20 of these now. 20, you know, like 20 of them. And I'm going, really? That's what people do now? Like,
Yeah,
but
well,
they've been
see,
doing it for a long time.
but guess what? That's why they need somebody like you and myself to help them in the air, because I don't think people realize this. The most successful entrepreneurs realize what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And if you're really going to succeed from a revenue standpoint, you're going to need a team of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not lining themselves up with someone like yourself or myself because they think they can do it all. No, they can't. I mean,
Nobody can.
nobody can. And you hear people saying they're a self-made millionaire. They're really not self-made. There was a whole bunch of people that helped them get those millions. Let's just keep that 100, because that's one thing that really kind of gets a lot of people talking, right? But and so and the worst thing about it for me is they don't, like you said, they have some great things to offer. They don't know how to present it. And they're the idea, maybe it's their idea, they're the brain behind it, but they don't know how to present it. They don't even want to pick up the phone. I have a group of people, and you must know this, on Facebook, for example, and LinkedIn, they just post things all the time. That's not going to bring people to you, unfortunately. I hate to tell
Mm-hmm.
everybody who's watching,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not the only thing that's going to bring you. It's like almost a advertisement, just this going on
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And it's because they're afraid to talk with people. And I was telling a lady not too long ago, like, if you're going to be looking for a job or you're looking for a partner, you're going to have a conversation. It's the same thing. That's why I say nothing happens without sales. And
Yes.
they really need to have someone like you. I'm hoping that not just the website designers, people like yourself and myself are going to be looked at more often by entrepreneurs, not just the companies. The companies see the value because that's why they have sales teams, right? But the
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, the aspiring entrepreneurs, and they most of them have a budget, for marketing or anything else, and that's where we come in. I mean, think about, there's something here is the sales dictionary. This little book I have, and he says everything comes down to sales. You must have heard of Thomas C. Caldwell.
Mhm.
So he has this book, and he talks in detail about how everything comes down to sales. And it's interesting because a lot of people never think of customer service as sales, but it is a form of sales, isn't it?
Upselling. It's upselling and solving
Right,
problems.
right. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, solving people's problems,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know.
Do you want to hold the book up for a moment?
Oh,
Do you have it in front of you?
yeah, yeah, it's fantastic.
There it is. Okay. The sales dictionary.
Yeah, this is a great guide, honestly. Everything comes down to sales highlights that only must we provide a valuable product or service, but we also must let people know what we stand for and what we do and what makes us better or different from our competitors. Even on my vision board, different things like that. You and I are like that, right? Very inspirational. We're always looking for things. And I think that people are missing that whole piece. Great services, but oh my goodness, they can't present their ideas. Like, you ever even talk to someone who's so passionate about what they do and you ask them and they couldn't even sell you what they have? It's
Yeah,
like,
either
what
I
did they just
find
say?
you're right, but either I find, Tammy, that they can't articulate it. They're too
Yeah.
excited because they can't articulate. They can't articulate it because they're too excited, or they're focused on getting another deal. So their
Mm-hmm.
mindset is not on being excited. So it's
Right.
kind of like one or the other. But
Mm-hmm.
these are all really good reminder points. Like these are amazing,
Yeah.
right?
Really terrible.
So basic,
Basic.
but we get
People
caught up
forget.
in our routines, right? We're
That's
all
right.
in a routine every day, whether you're working for corporate, you're working as an entrepreneur, you're in a routine. And that's like, it could be a good thing or it could be a really bad thing
Mm-hmm.
if it's not working.
Yeah.
And
Just
it's
for
really hard to break. It's hard to
it's
break those routines. It's really tough,
it's
right?
hard to break. I don't think people actually even assess themselves enough. I had a phone appointment this morning with somebody who wanted to share with me what they do. And that's great. I like to meet people, so I did it. The whole conversation was just about her.
Oh, I
She
had
didn't
one of
ask,
those 3 weeks ago.
she didn't ask me one thing about what I do for a living. Nothing. So where do you go from here? So what it shows me is that she's either brand new or she's so about herself, she didn't realize she's talking to a live person.
Mhm.
And she doesn't have much experience to build a relationship because I can tell you right now, I'm not interested. She didn't
And
even
what does
ask
she
me.
do for a living? What does she do for a living?
Uh, she has a product business,
Okay. Okay.
and it's fantastic. It's great, very recognizable, has a lot of accolades and stuff like that with it. And but yeah, that's and she's in that space and she loves it. I can hear a little bit of it from her, like her passion about it, but
Mhm.
never ask me once what I do. That's a cardinal sin to me. If you're gonna have a conversation with somebody, you want to ask them what they do. That's why the sales process is so important, having the conversation, finding out, Nicole, I maybe I just found out that you have an assistant, why not just talk about that assistant? And if I offer virtual assistant service as well, what things would you like to add to what you already have? I'm not trying to take away from her, but have the conversation. What are the things you need help with? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
Mhm.
people get into the meat and potatoes of it, and not to be nosy, but just trying to figure out if I can add any value to what you already have right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And people don't
Mhm.
do that. They just go into, I offer this, my hours are 5, this, and I can do 3 posts for this, but they don't find out, like, how do you know Nicole Marbury already has that already? She probably has it.
But Tammy, you're a real natural at this. Like, you're a real natural, I think, because I think you have to really enjoy working with people. It's not
People.
just loving what you do or liking what you do or being passionate about what you do, but you have to almost really enjoy people and learning about them and their businesses and their struggles and their situations. And it sounds like you do that, like, naturally. I love it. I have so much to learn from you every time.
Oh, we're learning from
Every
each
time.
other.
Yes, big time, big
Learning from
time.
each other. You know,
Yeah.
it's in is because working in the corporate world, you don't always have that time to always build relationships because there's someone like a boss
Mhm.
who's saying, you need to have this many sales, you have to have this many dollars coming in every month, you have to have this many face-to-face appointments, you know, but then you start to realize that it doesn't really matter about all what they just told you because you're getting more meat and potatoes from this handful of people than you would if you had added on more. And also too, I find what salespeople are doing wrong, and I go back to this, is knowing more than one person in that company, because there is natural attrition, there's turnover, and I was trained on another different way to go 3 wide and 3 deep,
Oh, okay. What is that?
knowing 3 people at the same level as Nicole
Mm-hmm.
in the company, and then going 3 levels down to 3 other people that were beneath Nicole. So in case Nicole left or Nicole moved on and up, I still knew people in that same area that they had placed me in, of people to work with that I could offer my services to build a relationship with, as opposed to now Nicole's gone. And now I have to start all over because Kim, Paul, whoever they are, they never heard about me. They know that Nicole was dealing with somebody in this company, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Nicole's moved on. She might have left, or maybe she wanted to something bigger and better in the company. She's not going to say, "Oh, your girl is Tammy." Not always. So
Right.
that's why it's really important to build a relationship with more than one person in that company. It does take some time, but whew, if you get your hand in like a handful of those companies, they just be automatically, it just grows into more, because now you don't, and if they leave the company, oh my goodness, Tammy, I was talking to Tammy, and they left the company, so now they're in charge of some area that you offer. Now you end up having like more clients because they left the company. You know what I mean? Like, I don't,
Mhm.
that's how I was trained, to go 3 wide, 3 deep, and it's pretty clever. And people are, I think I blame a lot of this on the microwaves, everything instant.
Yeah, yeah. You
It's
know
like,
what? Now I need 3 Tammys. I need to hire, I need
I
to
don't know if you
hire
want to
three
clone me. I
Tammys
don't know. I don't know if you
for
want to
the
clone me.
east
It might
and
not,
west. That's what I need. That's
right?
what
It,
I
it
need.
might not be a good idea to clone me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if people are going to go for that in my home. They think I'm a little too much right now.
No, but honestly, I'm making jokes, but seriously, like, this is really good information. This is amazing. Like, we all come in with our strengths. And that's what this conversation just makes me realize. We all have our individual natural strengths within, okay, within sales right now, we're having this discussion, but
Right.
within pretty much everything, there's always something that can be learned. There's always something that could be, improved upon. And I want to thank you so much for your time again today. We're going to do this again. And thanks so much, Tammy.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Get this here, the sales dictionary, whether you're looking for a job, whether you have one, whether you're being an entrepreneur, this year, I'm telling you, this is the book. And we don't make any money from it. We're just sharing. When you share without a quota, it doesn't even matter to us if you get the book or not. It really doesn't. You want to deal with people like that.
No, it's great because there's no pressure attached, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Bye.